The fact is that Jesus was not ready to die by way of crucifixion. I know Christians propagate this idea every day, believing it to be the truth. So let's just get down to the truth of this story that has captivated the minds of millions of people. First, when Jesus realized that he had been betrayed by Judas, he gave his disciples the following command or instruction according to the book of Luke 22 verse 36. And it says that, "Then he said unto them, But now he that hath no purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one." Now, this is a clear indication that Jesus didn't want to die on the cross, and he was ready to defend his life by taking the life of those who wished to end his. This idea doesn't sit well with most Christians because they have painted this peaceful, turn the other cheek image of Jesus. But this could not be the case. Jesus had to have been a force to be reckoned with. For instance, him and his disciples went into the marketplace or the temple and overthrew the merchants' stores because they were disrespecting the house of God, setting up business and trading in there. Now, these merchants, they didn't know who Jesus was, let alone cared. Now, they were just businessmen, and some of them must have been just even hustlers. Now, they would have fought Jesus and his men unless Jesus and his disciples had a reputation of being like gangsters or thugs, for a lack of a better word. Now, I'm saying that for a lack of a better word. You may be able to find a better word to use in that place. Now, imagine for a moment Jesus and his 12 disciples walking on the streets of New York on 125th Street, Harlem, and seeing all the vendors selling their products and then deciding to overturn their tables. What would happen? There would be a big fight, and people may even lose their lives because of this, because he would be threatening people's ability to survive and feed their families, unless Jesus and his disciples were a force to be reckoned with, like some gangsters. Unfortunately, Christians have put their complete faith in the writings of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Yet, they will say the gospel according to Mark, according to Luke, according to Matthew, according to John. Now, according to the following chart, you will see that each gospel was actually written way after the crucifixion. So we look at the book of Matthew, that was recorded in 41 AD. Then we move on to the book of Mark, which was recorded in 65 AD. The book of Luke was recorded in 58 AD. And then lastly, the book of John, which was recorded in the year 98 AD. So basically what you have to understand is that these gospels were actually based on hearsay, because they heard that their master was crucified. They didn't see this, they heard this. They heard he had died on the cross. Again, they didn't see it, they wasn't there, so they heard this. They heard he was dead and buried for 3 days. And lastly, they heard he had resurrected. But none of this was actually true. Now keep in mind that these were the same men who, according to Mark 14:50, fled from the Garden of Gethsemane when they came to capture Jesus. They ran. They didn't stay there to defend him. They ran and left him. Don't let anyone fool you into thinking that these gospels are divinely inspired, because they are not. Now, the so-called disciple Luke took it upon himself to write the Gospel of Luke in the year 58 AD. He wrote it just because everybody else was doing it. That's the reason he chose to write it. And he even states this in Luke chapter 1 verse 3. "It seemed good to me also, having perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto thee in order, the most excellent Theophilus." Now, the book of Barnabas was received in 54 AD and gives the true accounts of what took place in the Garden of Gethsemane. The book of Barnabas only takes you to a certain point, and then it leaves a gap in the story of the crucifixion, and that's because he wasn't present and he couldn't tell you about the incident of the scuffle in the garden. The version of Barnabas' account of Yeshua's life and ministry was removed from the New Testament, and this was done by the decree of the Council of Nicaea, which convened in 325 AD under the auspice of the first Christian emperor of Rome, Constantine. Now, the Council of Nicaea was organized to settle the differences of opinions pertaining to the scriptures. It indicated what should be taught in the church. Among the things that they authorized were certain pagan ideas and customs that were disguised as the true teachings of Jesus. And some of those things we're going to highlight and show you in some of the extra in the later pages. Sorry. Exactly which book should be included into the New Testament was a question which occupied the church for like many years. Among the Gospels omitted by the authority of the church were the Gospel of the Hebrews, the Gospel of the Tamaranes, Egyptians, the Gospel of Barnabas, and many more. The doctrine of the Trinity and the resurrection actually began in this council. The Council of Nicaea subtracted the Gospel of Barnabas from the original Bible because Barnabas recorded the prophecies and other truths that could not be altered concerning the life of Jesus. It banned the publication of the Gospel of Barnabas and called it the apocryphal, meaning hidden. Barnabas, he knew Yeshua wasn't crucified, yet the other books of the disciples made up some of the stories which caused them to contradict each other. This is a sad thing because you have millions of people who are now basing their lives, their whole lives, on this false story.